your go-to for all things home. This is Home Answers Radio, presented by Valdecast Windows and Doors, Level 10 Coatings, and by JeffBuysYourHouse.com. Once again, here's Roger Piper.
Your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio.
Hi, welcome to Home Answers. I'm Roger Piper. This show is all about your home. Inside, outside, everything to do with your home. And I'll tell you what, I'll make a little promise. If you spend a few minutes with us, I think that you'll probably pick up a few hints that you didn't know before. Today, we're going to talk about selling your house. And there are lots of different options out there. There's the traditional way and a non-traditional way. And with us is Jeff Buys Your House, Jeff Neidinger. And Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, Roger. Thanks for having us on. And I wanted to say special shout-out, happy Memorial Day to all the veterans out there. As a veteran-owned business, it means the world to us. Thank you.
And thank you for your service. We really do appreciate that. You've been doing this for 18 years, and you kind of put your company together in a different way. People think, I mean, there's just a scenario out there that if somebody is going to give you a cash offer, they're going to lowball you. And they're going to do their best to try to turn it into, a cash cow. You're really pretty ethical when it comes to this because there's two ways of doing it, going the realtor route and all the things that entails, getting the realtor, doing the upgrades, doing this, the showings, etc. And you offer an opportunity where people can really sell the home as is. They get cash offer. They can be flexible on the closing dates, and it's as is. So, when somebody really doesn't want to have to deal with the remodeling or the cleaning or any of that in order to show a house, that's a real advantage, isn't it, Jeff?
Yes, it is. And I think like any transaction, whether it's a house purchase or you're buying a car or anything that's more of a major type of a buy or a sell, I think there's always a give and take. And so I think when you take a look at what we're giving in this case, in terms of what you said, we're buying it as is. We're allowing you to choose the closing date. There's a lot of flexibility in this type of transaction. It's because it's not your traditional real estate transaction. We're able to be accommodating. And so I think if you look at that, there's a lot of value, in my opinion, to the folks that want this type of service to say, yeah, I might be giving up a hair on what I could get potentially on the market, which is a potential, versus what I could get today. And you know what? We're going to say we're going to close. So you wanted the guarantee or the certainty around a buyer that would close and would do what they say they're going to do. That's what you're going to get with us.
Yep. And you have to take into account the commissions that you're going to be paying out because there aren't any, right? When you buy the house.
Commissions, right?
Yeah.
No commissions, no fees. It's very straightforward. You're going to get really, really close to that number that you see on the purchase agreement. Again, you're paying your little bit of tax prorations. If you have an attorney, you're paying for that. But besides that, you're getting basically what that number is.
Yep. And a scenario that works really well for this, and I know that you've helped a lot of people out with this, is I call it the house has dropped on me. Kind of a Wizard of Oz thing. All of a sudden, you have a house, and it could be you inherited it, or for some other reason. But all of a sudden, you have a house, and you don't want to go through the hassle of fixing it up, of marketing it, and doing all of those things. We see this a lot with some kids that inherit a house from their parents, and then all of a sudden, they're sitting there going, "Our lives are busy." Maybe they're in another state. And they have to all of a sudden figure out what to do with this house. And I know that's a great scenario. But give us an idea of something that a scenario you've done recently, Jeff, with a home buying procedure.
Yeah, sure. We had an elderly widow call us a few months ago. And again, she had called for the same reason most people do. She wanted to get a cash offer and see what that might look like. And you could tell she had warned us before we came out. The house needed repairs, and there was stuff that she's had kind of sitting around for years and years and years. I think she said 40 or 50 years. And this is maybe not, maybe this was uncommon for her, but it's fairly common for us. And so we're used to that. But I could tell that she was apprehensive about that part. And so again, because our process is very simple, you call us, we come meet you, and then we buy the house. We came out, met with her, sat with her for a while, and of course talked about the house. That's the important part, but really about what she wanted out of this transition and this transaction. And she wanted discretion because she was kind of embarrassed of the condition. She wanted to know that she could take the few things that she wanted and that we would process or take the rest and not make it a big deal, which we did. And then she wanted a closing date because she was someone that was transitioning from a place she lived in for, I think, 50 years. I think this was in Aurora. And then she was moving on to senior living. And that's a transition. I personally haven't gone through it, but, she's lived by herself for 30 or 40, 50 years, and now she's moving on to this. So, again, we're not necessarily experts in senior living care per se, but we have helped many, many, many homeowners and sellers get to that next place. So all that being said, we bought the house as is on her time frame. Come a day before closing, the senior living transition place called and said, hey, we don't have the room ready for you. It's going to take another, I think, 10 or 12 days. She was pretty frantic over that, and we said, we'll work with you. So we were able to accommodate a flexible closing date, again, pushing it out for her. Usually it's for the buyer, this time for the seller. And again, it all worked out because we had an open line of communication. She got where she needed to go. We were able to buy the house, and now we're doing our remodel and going to go back to the market for another homeowner to buy.
And so many people are, even if they go the traditional route, they're embarrassed to bring a realtor by because they're going, they're not going to like the color of this, and they think it's, this needs remodeled, and everything seems I'm not down on realtors, but I'm saying that they're very judgmental because they're looking at it purely from an advertising point of view. If it doesn't advertise well,
and brokers, in all respect to them, they're judged on how the house sells. And so if I'm them, of course, I kind of want the same thing. I've got to make sure this thing's ready to go, polished up for the market in whatever I can do to get it ready. Typically, that's not just moving the couch around. Typically, that's, like you said, adjusting this and painting that. And, by the way, I think we need to update the kitchen because nobody wants a kitchen from 1980. Yeah. Well, that's true, but who has $40,000 sitting around to get it to where it needs to go? So you're right. The as-is aspect is high on the value-add side for most sellers because we kind of know what we're getting. Is this how it's going to, Mrs. Homeowner, is this how it's going to be when you sell to us? Yes. You don't want to do any repairs? No. Okay, perfect. As long as we're clear on that, then there's no surprises.
Yep, and that's a great way to do it. JeffBuysYourHouse.com. Go on there, take a look, and they've got like 375 Google reviews. So you can go through there and see what real people have to say about them. And you can call them up at 630-895-9530. And when somebody calls you up, what's the process after they contact you?
Yeah, one more thing on that, Roger. I know some people don't love Google for a myriad of reasons. I would say that they would look other places too, like the Better Business Bureau. We've got an A+ rating, and we have for a long, long time, and we've got lots of reviews on there as well. Some people don't want to go Google, so they go right to VBB, and so we're always pointing people in both directions, and that's two different services, but it's both places you'll find good things from good people that have stuff to say about us. But to answer your question, people call in or they fill out a web form. And then we're going to gather some information, make sure we're a good fit, and that if you're in the general Chicagoland area and you've got a single-family home or a condo or a townhome or even a small multifamily property, we'll come out, visit with you. It's no obligation. We'll sit and hear about what you would like to do and what makes sense for you and your family and your situation, and present you with a no-obligation cash offer in writing. No surprise. It's actually only one page, which makes it pretty simple.
Isn't that wild?
And then
an offer on one page. That's
legal. It's legal. It's the attorneys love it. It's not your traditional 13-page Illinois contract. For some reason, we've made that very, very difficult. We just brought it back to. We've taken the lawyer out of it, if that makes sense, and put it in real English. And then we agree on a price, agree on a closing date, and then from there we just stay in communication until closing is ready to go, and we close when you're ready.
Yep, and it's all cash, no repairs, no cleaning. Those are the real advantages, especially if you're on a time frame. You've had really a record number of homes that you've purchased here recently. So business must be pretty good, huh? People are starting to see the option.
People are seeing the option. Yes, we're still purchasing between 30 and 40 houses a month. And again, when we're buying, let's say in 6 or 7 counties of the greater Chicagoland area, we're kind of, as you can imagine, we're all over the place from, even though our office is in Yorkville, we're up in Island Lake, and then we're down in Northwest Indiana, we're out to DeKalb. So we're covering a pretty good territory. We're on the road because when they hear your show or they see us on TV or get a card in the mail, they want us to come out. So that's what we do.
Yep. And also, this is a veteran-owned company. So I think
that's right.
That's one thing that you can get, that certain amount of trust that goes from somebody being a veteran. We want to thank you for your service because that's real important to us. We love to support the veterans. 18 years of home buying. In fact, 18 years of home buying this May. So congratulations on that. You really can't do something like this that long unless you're doing it well. And I know that you're pretty compassionate when you're dealing with people. And I think that's real important when it comes to a business transaction like this.
Yeah, I think it is. I think, like I said before, it's a serious situation typically. Whether it's inherited or whether you've lived there for 20 years or 2 years or 50 years, it's a serious transaction. You're selling a house. I'm buying a house. It isn't Girl Scout cookies or a pair of socks. I mean, this is something we take pretty serious, and so we realize that a lot of decisions are made based on a home seller selling their home because they're doing something with it, and it's not easy. It's complicated, and so we don't make it a small deal. We make it a big deal, and everyone gets treated with the same level of respect through and through. Yep.
Jeff Buys Your House. Check him out at jeffbuysyourhouse.com. You can call him at 630-895-9530, 630-895-9530. Jeff, thanks for being on the show.
Roger, thanks again. Appreciate it.
This is Home Answers on AM 560, The Answer.